Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and today I'm going to be talking about Mall Mutation Madness Hardcore 4, which is an event I recently participated in the Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters, Missouri, and it takes place in the mall from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. It is a brutal slog, and it is amazing. I attended Hardcore 3 last year, and it was one of the best HVZs I had ever attended. And this year was better in pretty much every way, and that's saying something. They listened to our feedback, they made a lot of improvements, and I liked pretty much all of the changes that they made. I really can't think of any I didn't like. It was incredible. It was also a better event because I got to bring friends with me. Last year I did have a bunch of veteran auxiliary, and they were the only reason that I survived as long as I did. I wanted to be dead by midnight. They made me last all the way to the end of the final stand. This time I brought crew with me. Sergeant Deplorable and Crewman Rocket were able to attend, as well as another auxiliary from the local area. And we met up with all of the veteran auxiliary and were able to fill out our squad and have a really solid squad, and we did good. Last year, one of the things that was different was that squads were only 5 people. Now we put together two 5-person squads, and then we had 2 additional 5-person allied squads. Now last year, my 2 squads made no attempt to complete missions because we didn't have to. We just wanted to go and hunt zombies and level up. And you leveled up by hunting zombies. You tag a zombie, they drop XP, you collect it, you turn it in, you get levels. You didn't need to complete missions. Missions had nothing to do with levels, and so we chose to ignore the missions because there weren't enough resources for everyone to complete the missions anyway, and so rather than fighting over resources, we chose to ignore the missions and just help our 2 allied squads complete their missions in the hopes that somebody would be able to complete all of the missions and be able to escape. And one of our allied squads was able to. They did escape, and they received the Best Human Squad award quite deservedly. And that was really cool. We got to have our glorious last stand. We all went down, and it was fabulous. Fun times were had. This year, they increased the squad size to 10. So rather than having 2 5-person squads, I had 1 big 10-person squad. And we had a bunch of allied squads. Probably half the squads there were allied with us and were willing to help us. And we helped them, they helped us. And that is the only reason we were able to achieve what we did. Because this year, I wanted to win Best Human Squad. I wanted to complete as many missions as we possibly could. Partially because I like trinkets and I like getting awards. I am a token whore, as we used to say back in the medieval recreation days. I like bingles, jangles, gizmos. I like stuff. And so I wanted to win it this year. Now, we made no effort last year. This year I wanted to make the effort. And so it's a good thing we had so many allied squads because we would not have been able to achieve what we did without that. I want to make that abundantly clear. Also, this year, leveling up was linked to missions. Not entirely. You could level up just by getting XP from shooting zombies, but it was a lot harder. One, you needed more to level up your entire squad, and there were things that were based on the minimum level of the people in your squad. But last year it was 5 XP per level. Every level you just needed additional 5 XP. This time you needed 5 more XP than you did the last time. So it's 5 XP to get level 1, 10 additional XP to get level 2, then 15, then 20. So it was hard to get human levels. You needed a lot of XP, and leveling your entire squad by XP was simply not really viable. However, completing missions gave you squad levels. Your entire squad went up levels, and so that was how we were able to get all of our equipment and all of our gear and all of our special abilities into play. So we set out, and like I said, there were a lot of squads that were helping each other, and there were a lot of ways that squads could help each other. The primary missions, you had to collect 10 balls of each 10 balls of each color. There were 6 colors, you needed 10 balls of each color. And you could only carry 2 balls at a time, 1 in each hand, but then you couldn't use your hands, so if you wanted to carry 2 balls, you needed another squad to protect you, and you had to ferry them back. You couldn't turn them in until you had 10. You didn't have to collect 10 at a time, but then you had to bank them somewhere, and people could steal them if they were willing to, risk getting shot. But there were also ways that you could carry lots of balls. There were carts that you could carry, and so some of our allied squads were just going with the carts and just filling them with as many as they possibly could, and then bringing them back and then just doling them out to any squad that still needed that color. Because we needed to get a certain number of squads to complete primary missions, before we could get to the tertiary missions, the final missions. There were also then secondary missions. And those ones were, you could get help, and we did get help with one, because one of our other squads found 2 of the MacGuffins and brought them both back, but you were only allowed to bring back one, so they had to put the other one back, but they knew where it was, so they took us to it, and they helped us get it, and then we got it back, and so we got that secondary mission completed, which the secondary missions gave you 2 levels at a time. There was another one where you had to drive an RC car from one location to another, so it was an escort mission, because if you got tagged and you lost the car, then the zombies could turn the car in 4 levels, which gave them more superpowers. So I gave the controller, the RC controller, to Crewman Rocket, because he's the race car guy. That's what he is into. That's where the Rocket Racer, that's where his call sign came from. And he did a perfect job of driving it to location. We got it turned in. We got the level for it, the 2 levels for it. And we specifically tried to complete the secondary missions early on, because we knew that they would be harder to complete once the horde started to get big, especially the RC car one, because it could only be worked on by one squad at a time, where all the other ones, multiple squads could work on at the same time. And as a result, we got those 2 completed, and then we got help with, we completed one of the primary missions along with another one of the squads. We collected enough balls for both of us to get that one, and then we got a lot of help with all of the other primary missions. When they brought in balls, we would get our share. We went out and helped get some. And we also got the final secondary mission, which was to fill up a balloon. Somebody had brought one back, and either they didn't need it, or they didn't want it, or they couldn't use it, or whatever. So they gave it to us, and we turned it in. And so we were, in fact, able to complete all primary and secondary missions, and we were the only squad to do so. And again, I want to reiterate that we were only able to do so because of the help we got from allied squads. And a lot of that was payback for having helped them the year before, and a lot of it was just, it was the only way the humans were possibly going to win. If we had wanted to actually complete the tertiary missions, we would have had to work even better together. Because we had to get 6 to complete the primary missions. We then needed 6 to complete the secondary missions. And that didn't happen, unfortunately, and it became clear that that was not going to happen. But we did make one last valiant effort to do so. This was before we'd completed all of our primaries. We still needed, I think, 1 or 2 colors to complete the primaries. And they were going out to try to complete the balloon mission. We needed 2 more squads to complete the balloon mission. And so we went out. And at this point, I was level 14. I had 2 levels in melee, so I had a 2-foot melee sword. I had 2 levels in armor, so I had a pauldron with 2 armor flags, which means it takes more zombies to tag me to actually turn me. I had 10 levels in blaster, which meant I had unrestricted ammo. I could have all the ammo I wanted. Normally, you had 25 rounds of ammo capacity per level. But once you reach level 10, it was just as many as you want. So I had 12 magazines on my vest, a magazine in my blaster. I had my proton pack in play with 400 rounds, and we went out, and it was a brutal slog through the whole horde. But thanks to the proton pack and help from other players, specifically medics, we cut our way through to the MacGuffin location. We got it, we got it back, we got all the way back. I went through half my magazines. I went through my entire proton pack. I got several people with melee because there were zombies that could only be taken out with melee. I put my armor to the test. I put the medics to the test. We got through. It was an amazing push. And that was the push that made me decide to do one of the things that we ended up doing later. So, as I said, we were the only squad to complete all primary and secondary objectives, and therefore we did in fact win Best Human Squad, because we had the highest level because we'd completed the most missions. And that was my goal, because there's a whole bunch of different awards that you can get, but they are all objective-based. They are all achievement-based. So there was things like first zombie to get a tag. There was a time all the achievements are time-stamped. Last zombie to get a tag. Zombie to get the most tags. First human tagged. Not really a great achievement, but it's an achievement. It's something that is unquestioned. It is objective. It is measurable. Last human tagged. That's more of a fancy one. Human with the most levels. They got a level. They got an award. And there are a bunch more that I don't remember now. But they were all based on statistics that they track throughout the game. There were 2 awards that were subjective. One was the guy who runs the event gets to pick what he thought was the coolest thing that he saw. And I agree, I saw the thing that he voted for. It was somebody jumping over barricades, going into shoulder rolls, coming up, getting tags. It was Mowgli-like, this fella. And it was really cool to see. And so he got it absolutely deservedly. And then there was a player's choice, which is who do we think was the best player? And there were 2 nominated. They both had beards, they both had cowboy hats, they both played medics. But one of them was our medic. And I lost track of how many times he saved me. He saved everyone in our squad. He was there in that nasty push, saving people from all kinds of squads, keeping people from getting turned. It was incredible. And so he had earned it, and we made sure he got it, and he did, and that was really, really cool. But it eventually became clear that, yeah, there was no way we were going to get all of the secondary missions. No one else had completed the RC car run, and that one took time, and there was an entire horde out there. The tides had turned. There were now more zombies than humans. Yeah, we were all high-level humans at this point, but they were all high-level super zombies. They had all kinds of toys. They had flails and invulnerability rings and spitters, and it was getting nasty. And it was clear that there was simply no way to complete it. Luckily, we were able to scrounge together the last couple of balls we needed to complete our last primary mission. And then we chose to do something you don't get to do often in HVZ, which is leave as a human. If your squad completed all of their primary missions, you could individually choose to select survivor status, get your card tagged with a little gem, and leave. You have gotten enough resources, you are able to escape and survive the zombie uprising. And leave everyone else to die. Now, we lost 2 players who both died trying to solo the boss zombie that we had unlocked, because as soon as somebody completes all the primary or all the secondary, it unlocks. We completed all the secondary, and that unlocked the super zombie. And so they ended up dying soloing that, which was how they wanted to go. And the remaining 8 of our squad chose to leave. We chose to. Yeah, we know we have enough. We were pretty sure at that point we had enough levels. We were the only person to complete them all, and we were going to be the only person to complete them all. So we chose to take the win and leave as survivors. We then, if you wanted to, you could then go play zombies, which most of them did. I was bushed at that point, and that was really, really cool that was an option. Usually I am a fiend for the glorious last stand, and there ended up being a glorious last stand where the humans all got pushed back to a corner and eventually wiped out. But I did that last year. I had my glorious last stand. The last stand last year was the second best last stand I've ever been to, second only to Ragnar Oktoberfest 2018. It was amazing. So I'd had my glorious last stand at a Mall Madness, so I was willing to take the win. There's only about a half hour left in the game anyway, and I really was only willing to do it because of that last push that we did, where it was the slog, where I got to use every special ability, drained my proton pack. That to me, that was my moment. You're like, that's what I wanted, I got it, okay, I'm good, I can go. And so it was a lot of fun. All right, let's talk loot, because I never go to one of these events without getting loot. I was given a bunch of Goomy Brains, which I was planning to shamble around eating Goomy Brains when I got turned into a zombie, but I never got turned into a zombie. So I got to keep my brains. Train? Train brain? My brain is, my train of thought is still boarding at the station. I got some patches. I got a really cool custom embroidered Mall Madness patch. Super, super cool. And I was also given a Chicago Nerf Wars patch, which is a Demolisher rocket, and then all the other ammo types are represented there in the Chicago skyline. Super cool. Really, really cool patch. But for those of you that have really been paying attention, you will have noticed there is a new blaster on the wall. I was given this magnificent piece of hardware. And yes, it's a bolt pistol. You've probably seen my bolter. Well, now I have a proper bolt pistol. It fires half darts, it is select fire, it is just amazing. Gorgeous, gorgeous work. It looks just like the ones from the game. It is just cosmetically magnificent. And I was also given, there's 2 of them on it, but I was also given additional X-Strike Aquila, the Imperial Aquila, the 2-headed eagle. But this is an X-Strike Aquila. They managed to figure out how to integrate an X-Strike into the Aquila in such a way that it works perfectly. The eagle heads are coming off the top of the X's. It's brilliant, and I love it. I don't know when I'm going to put it on. I will probably end up putting one on here. Maybe here, maybe somewhere else. Maybe I'll put it on the far side opposite of this magwell. I've got two, so I'll paint one in black and put it on there. And then I was also, because this person did not go halfway, I was given purity seals, 2 purity seals that have the crew's logo of Vas Volo Bellum, Vas Adepto Bellum. If it's war you want, it is war you will get. And it has been anointed in holy oil, Sprecher root beer. Smells of Sprecher, absolutely fantastic. And they are magnetic, which means I can actually put them on my smart gun armor, or the smart gun. It has metal on it. I'll also definitely be adding metal parts, metal plates to my my shoulder pauldrons, perhaps, or my molly vests, so I can just click that right on there. Just, some people go so far above and beyond, it's absolutely amazing. I will, of course, be doing full videos on that, giving full credit, where you can get it, all of that. Stay tuned for that. So looking forward to that. Gonna be a lot of fun. So that was Mall Madness, and like I said, it was better in almost every way than last year. I had an absolute blast. So much fun. So looking forward to next year. I hope there will be even more. I have no doubt there will be more improvements, and I'm going to see what I can do to be more helpful next year, hopefully. See what we can do to make it run even smoother. So my thanks to the team that put it on. This is a complicated event, and they managed to run it super smooth. My thanks to all the allied squads and auxiliary squads that helped us achieve what we did. We could not have done it without you. And my thanks to you guys for watching.